Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. What are we going to do today? I decided to do a super quick intro into Adobe Illustrator because I feel each time I open any tutorial they start by explaining like all the tools that there exist, and that's not how I learn. I like learning by doing, and that's what we are going to do today. So fire up your Adobe Illustrators and let's get into it. So what are we going to create today? We use this piece as an email header, but you can use it as a LinkedIn background, Facebook background. If you make it like a portrait instead of landscape, it can be a background for your Insta stories, whatever you wish for. This is also going to help you with creating basically any other type of design with a text on it for basically any use case you need. It's pretty much very much variable. So but we used it as a LinkedIn background, and it all started with my colleague saying to me like, we are going to have like this type of talk and we want it to have the vibe like we are all sitting by a fireside looking at the fire and just like talking about stuff. And it was like very important person coming to our office, and this was like the mail header saying, yeah, this person is coming, let's sit with him by the fire. So he asked for something fiery and for gradient and blur, which are like my two most favorite design aspects, and I created this a while ago, so maybe it's going to be funny and I have to remember everything. So let's jump into it. So what we are going to do is we are going to, when you're on the main screen, you are going to click on, hold on, I'm going to show you. You're on the main screen, you're going to a new file, and I usually just do any pixel size so you can adjust it later. And we are going to go for RGB because we are not going for print. And here is our new artboard. So then you select the artboard tool and properties. By the way, if you can't find anything from what I'm showing you, all the windows are you are able to find in the upper toolbar. And when you go under window, you can see like all of them are in here, and in case of need you can always reset the workspace to reset essentials and everything will get back. So if you accidentally push or click on something you didn't want it to, or hide something you didn't want it to, this is the way to reset. So now we can see that we have properties of height and width, and I need to recall how big was this. So this is 106 for 400. Each time you're, for example, going to design for LinkedIn or for Facebook background or for Insta post or Insta story, each time it's really good to like check on Google, just like type in let's say size of the Facebook background, and there's always somebody who is keeping an eye on that and how it's changing. So it's best to look up how is it in 2024, because from time to time it's changing. But I googled the background for the email and it was this size, but then my friend told me that he wants it bigger for some reason, so we will go with 1106. I don't know how to pronounce the numbers in English, so I'm sorry. And we want the second to be the height to be 400. Okay, so now we have it exactly as we imagined. You can also work on the, or like change it in here, but I usually just like rewrite the numbers. Just a little disclaimer, each thing I'm going to work on is possible to be done or to get done in 1,000 possible ways. This is just the way how I do it, and if you don't like it, you can go watch some another video. I have no problem with that. So I'm gonna copy this to our new file, so we have it in there, nice and tidy. Little disclaimer, each time you're working with gradients and grains, and God forbid how I did it on top of each other, from time to time, even though I have a MacBook Pro, sometimes it gets slower or it gets loading. Don't worry about that, we will work on it. Okay, so let's move the artboard a little upper. Okay, We will start with the background. So we will pick this rectangle tool and we just like click and drag all over the artboard. When we will be exporting the thing, like the final picture, everything else which is not in the artboard will be cut away, so no worries about doing it precisely as you wish for. I'll just adjust it in here, and I didn't want it to be like pure black. I want it to be a little like a dark gray. This is a little like graphic design thing that try not to use the pure black. It's kind of hard on eyes. It has like multiple reasons why you shouldn't, but the hard on eyes, and also it's not as flawlessly looking in the design. There are of course exceptions like from every rule, but that's where I ended up. Alrighty, so we have it in here and we want it to have a text. So let's go to this type tool and you just again click and drag, click and drag, and you can see that we have some lorem ipsum that's like pre-filled text that is in there as a placeholder, let's say. And again we go to properties. We want to change the font. There is gonna be some settings from basic beginning, but I would like to rewrite it first. So I want to do Fireside Talk. Maybe this doesn't have to be UX, it can be graphic Fireside Talk. Okay, you can see that it's black, so we can change the color in here. And maybe you noticed that I'm using my touchpad, not my mouse, but when we are talking about some basics in moving in the program, so with touchpad it's pretty obvious, you like zoom in and move with 2 fingers all around. But if you're using your mouse, you can use the middle wheel. I'm not sure how is it called. This is the 3rd video which I don't remember and I always forget to check it. So you just like you can use the wheel to go up and down, and when you click and move, it creates this little hand which you can replicate in the touchpad with clicking on sidebar. So that's something you can use to your advantage. Now we see that we have graphic Fireside Talk and we want it to be bigger, so we will set the point size in here. Let me check. This one is 72, so I'm gonna replicate that and look at it how it looks. Okay, and we also want it to be some other font. Let's go with Arial, even though that's like pretty basic thing. And now when I see that this is Arial black, but I would maybe want to have, I would like to go like this and choose bold instead. Yeah, much better. Okay. So there's always like in deciding which font are you going to use, it takes usually like few eternities. This banner I was creating in our company font, so I didn't have much choice, but you can always, like if you have a paid Adobe Illustrator, there's like tons of fonts already there, but in case you want to use something more special, you can go to Google Fonts and download any free one. Just be aware, from time to time you cannot use it for like paid monetizing purposes, so take a look at that. But so far I'm pretty much happy with how this looks, also with the size. And now I'm going to click on this blue dot, which is going to like, the text field is going to hug the text that is in there. And now when I try to like move it, this thing is going to happen. Now every type of person who ever created any font is crying. So Command Z. So Command Z gets you, or Control Z gets you a step back. And so in case you would like to move with the text frame in some other manner, you can again click on the double click, and now you can work with the font as before, but I liked it how it was in here, and it's gonna stay like that. Okay, so we have our middle font. Now we want a second text field down under it. So you can do it Command C, Command V, but I would suggest to go with Option or Alt and just click and drag it, and boom, we have two. If you want them to stay like in the same row, you can as well click on Shift while clicking on the option, by holding on the option, and it's going to be right down, so it's going to not move in any other direction, only down. And I'm again gonna check how big I made this font, because I'm too lazy to figure it out second time. So this is 24, let's set 24 in here. Here we are, and we want the person speaking, so there would be the name of the person who is going to be doing the talk. And we want to align all of the text to the left side. This is for countries who read from left to right. The best way to align is always to the left. You can align it to the right only in like special cases when there's not much text, because it's much harder to eyes to read. And so I want to select both of the text. You can do it either by dragging this selection box around, but you can see that I also selected the background with it, so I'm shift click, and now I unselected the background and I only have the two text picked. The black arrow is the most important tool, and you are using it for selection of anything, and the shortcut is V. I would highly suggest for you to use the shortcuts since from day one, because the work is getting like twice or thrice. Is it thrice a word? It's going much faster. And now I'm gonna click on Graphic Design Farsa Talk Text, because I want the down text to align with the upper text. And in here in the properties we are going for this align, and I want it to align to the left, so you see it jumped where it's supposed to be, and now I'm happy designer. You can also do Command R, and it's going to open rulers for you, and you can just like drag a guide in here, and you see that even though the both text fields are aligned to the left, as a like this is a little graphic designer tip. Hold on, I have locked my Smart Guides. Unlock. Okay, so I'm gonna move it away. You can see that when you look at it, even though they are aligned, it looks like the T is a little bit more to the left than the G, and that's because of the G shape, like it's rounded, and the T because it's long. So even though this is how they aligned, I only do like 2 or 3 moves of my arrows in my keyboard to adjust how it looks, not how it is really aligned, but how the eye. I don't have my vocabulary today. How the eye feels on it. And I'm again gonna do the copy thing, so I hold Option, click, and drag it down. This one I wish to be regular, not bold, because I want it to have a little less weight. Maybe I'm going to change the font after all in the team or company, because I would really want this very thin look. But we need a font which has like really a lot. Oh, this one looks good. Okay, but I wish. Yeah, and this is what you basically spend the most time with. Like choosing the right font is really hard thing to do. Okay, maybe, but like no. I would go for Helvetica, but it's like it's a graphic design joke by now, so I'm just gonna strike through. And exactly this is the biggest problem when you have a company font, that I'm so used to it that by now I don't even like know how to choose the right font anymore. I don't like any of them. Okay, I'm gonna keep the Arial in there, maybe for like the making the weight of the text a little softer. I'm gonna make it smaller, like 1 point. And yeah, but you see, it doesn't look as good as it looks in this upper thing, because we have the bold text, and then we have the really thin. This one is called book, I think. So it's like really thin. And I would try to replicate it, but I don't have that much time now. And then I'm going to also do it for the team name. Okay, so we are done with the font, of course, or with the text. A lot of the things depends on, I want this to be even smaller, like this. And it kind of like has these rules. When you look at something, you're going to first read the graphic fireside talk, then you're gonna read the lower thing underneath, and after that you're going for the team name. Don't ask me how it works, I only know that it does. And now let's go to the fun part. We are going to create the fire. So as you can see in here, the line, so I actually created something similar as a fire. Let's go to the pen tool, and I'm going to like just draw this type of thing. When I was designing it, I actually created multiple types of the fire, but my friend always told me that he wanted to like a little more abstract, so that's why I'm going with this like weird shape of blob, like this blob shape. Yes, blob shape is the good word. So I'm just going to adjust it a little bit. It doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to blur it, and the perfection in the blur doesn't work as well as it does otherwise. And so now we have this shape, and it doesn't have any color, so if you accidentally click away you don't see it, so you can select it again like this. And we're gonna give it any color, so just we can see how it looks, how the shape, if it's a little similar. Let's do it a little bit more down. Alrighty. So now we have this weird blob, and we want it to be a gradient. So now let's get to the fun part and click on the gradient under the color decision square. I should really like check the names, how they are called. Fill and stroke. Okay, so under fill and stroke. This is a very good thing, by the way. Each time you like point at any tool, Adobe Illustrator just explains to you what you're supposed to do with it. And there are 3 types of gradients. This one is linear, then this one is radial, and this one is freedom gradient. That's the one we are going for. So let's click on the freedom gradient. And what happens now is that there are like multiple points existing in the shape, and you can change the color of each of them, and you can add more points. So when you want to add a point, you just click in here and you see that it's created the point. I'll just delete this one. We are good with 4, and we will see how it goes. So I know in this upper side I want it to be purple, and so you click in here. In case you would have some type of color, so I will create something like a colors. Okay, so in case you have a color swatch before you start your design, you can use this. Let's select one of the points, and you can use this eyedropper. It's different than the basic eyedropper in the toolbar on the left. This is only for the gradients. And so I want this to be, let's say, red. So you can see that it changed to red, and I want the top one to be purple, and I want another point in between, and I want that one to be yellow. And so you see that like this we can create the effect of the fire. Now in case you don't have any swatch prepared in advance, you have a point and you double click on the color underneath, and you can set it like in normal way, let's say like this. Oh, this is too much red. Okay, and I feel it's not enough yellow, so let's pull this a little bit. Also, you can adjust the spread of the color in the gradients by this circle, but it still feels a little bit too much. Maybe I'm gonna add another yellow in the lower part, a little bit orange, and no, this one is going to be this yellow. Yeah, that's how I want it. Okay. Oh, great. Okay. All right. Let's move this one here. It's not gonna be the same because I spent like really long hours on it, but we have our blob shape and it has a gradient color. So what now we are going to do is we are going to do a blur toolbar on the top, which I'm really sorry I'm not recording, but I had Windows for a while and I just started the recording only in the Illustrator window, but you can see the drop. So we are going for effect, and we are going for blur. So in the top toolbar you have effect, and then we go for blur, and we go for Gaussian. I hope that's the way to pronounce it, Gaussian blur. And be sure you have checked in the preview, because it's just much faster to do it this way. I want the blur to be like really far away, but not too much, because we are also going to do the grain. So we still want it to keep the shape, the general shape of maybe a little bit more. Okay, this seems to look all right. So now we have blur as well. You can see it starts to look kind of similar so far. I'm gonna place the object in the artboard we created more or less like this, and I also see that the text kind of gets into the way. So now this is one of the troubles that as a designer you have to care about. What I would probably do is I would just like go for right click on mouse, or click with 2 fingers on the screen and go for arrange, which is again away from my recording, and go for, hold on, maybe like this is gonna work better. You have to select the text, and yeah, here we go for arrange, bring to front. So that is going to like bring the text above. And you can either go with it like that, because it's going to be blurred, so it's not gonna get much into the text, or if you want to, you can make the text smaller, or you can rewrite it. So when now I will do the UX fireside talk, you can see that our problem is basically solved. So probably that's what I'm going to go for. In case you can also like make the text smaller. 67 seem to work, or we can like again I'm unselecting with shift, and I will move it to the left with my arrows only a teeny tiny bit, so it's away from the main thing on the screen. You can also move this a little bit to the right, but I want it to be in there. Or you can do the fire a little smaller with this thing in here. Just do like boop, and here it goes. Okay, so now we are okay with the blur, we are okay with the fire. I would maybe adjust the text a little bit higher on the, it's kind of hard to see, I hope it's gonna be visible on the recording. When I turn on the artboard tool, you can see that the artboard is the thing you're going to see in the future, like in the final design. So it's kind of important. You will get to see it without thinking about it by some time. I feel like now it's kind of weighting down itself, and we want it to be more in the middle. And also I don't like the empty space between these two, so I would maybe put it a little bit closer together, which is also gonna help us with the text falling down. And also one tip which I do from time to time is I go Command Shift and 4 on MacBook, and you just like do a print screen of the artboard, and then I do Command V in the same design file, so that I can only just like see it next to it. I can do it now, at least I think so, because I'm recording the screen. And yeah, I feel pretty okay with this now, so I will select the fire and the background, and now we will go again to the effect, and we will go to texture and to grain. So now there's another pop-up window which is going to be opened, and don't get scared, this is just a detail so you can see the intensity and contrast of the overall experience of the grain, and you can set it on the right. So I want it to be a little bit more intense and a little bit more contrasting, so you can just copy the numbers. Oh, this is too much. You can just copy the numbers more or less, and then I'm gonna go OK, and the grain is gonna be applied. And now you can see that it's already grainy, also the fire who was blurred before. And if I'm kind of like, I feel it's still a little bit too much fire and I want it to be more blurred, so I will adjust. I will click on A, or yes, on A or on the white arrow, and what this makes is that you can edit the points of each object. So I will just pull I will double click on the point, and I will just pull it a little bit higher and go again with normal V to the black arrow. I feel it's a little bit better now, but I still feel like it needs a more blur, so I will go again to the effect and the blur and Gaussian blur, and I want to apply a new effect because it's what happens when you don't. And I'm gonna go on, yeah, 93 seems okay. And you see that now the blur is a little bit more blurred basically, and you can see that it's still grainy. So everything should be okay. You see that the first picture is a little bit more orange, and I can still edit it. That's like the greatest thing ever. So you can go in here and edit gradient, and now I want, for example, this to be a little bit more red. So I will adjust the color. Okay, and there we have it. It's not like one-to-one the picture. I also feel like it needs to be grained again, so I go to effect and texture grain, and I'm gonna do a little bit stronger grain on the fire than I did on the background. And yeah, this is much better. I like it much more. And so now we have the fire in here, and I want to export it for different types. Of course, we have different files, so we go to file and you go to export, and now you can see that there are multiple possibilities. When you want it to be like fast export and not it doesn't have to be like the best quality ever, you can go just export for screens, and then that I will do it everything. So we go to export to screens, you select the artboard, you can also name it in here, so I go fire, and I want it to be saved on the desktop, and I go choose, and that's basically everything what I usually do in here. Because this is like fast export, I just need to send it to somebody to check it. I usually do a screenshot in this point, but for example, when you need to try it on in the email or something, it's better to just like export it, and it exported, and here I have it, fire. So that's one of the possibilities, and the other is to export as, and you have to check in here to use Artboards, otherwise like everything you have in the file is going to get exported. And again, I want it to be on desktop, and I go Fire. But there's a little bit more possibilities in here, so you can use JPEG, you can use SVG, and a bunch of other stuff. I usually go for PNG in this point with the export, and in here you can set the points per inch. So when you need to print something, that's a whole other story of settings. We set everything in here for digital, so we can go with screen or medium. When you go for the high, it's really good quality, but the thing is that it can really increase the size of the file, but I don't mind it now, so I will just go OK. Or when you want it to be a JPEG, you just go in here, always check the use artboard, so let's do JPEG. And in JPEG you can set the quality of the file. So again, this is going to change the size of the file, and that's important when you're, for example, exporting something for web. In the email it doesn't make much difference. As I mentioned before, for example, LinkedIn and Facebook, they both have some kind of like I think they have like maximum of the size you can actually upload to use as a background. So this is the time when you have it too big, you can make it smaller. And then you go OK, and it just like gets exported. Thank you very much for holding up with me, and see you in the next video. Bye!